I have a magazine visiting tomorrow to do a photo shoot, and I thought you'd like a clip on what I do to prepare for such an eventuality, and what you, if you're a small business or a creative person and you've attracted somebody from the press who wants to come and work with you, what you might think about in order to make the most of the situation. First of all, I'm going to put these dahlias in the bin. I've got lots of clearing up to do. And if you're new to the channel, you're very welcome. Please do subscribe, press the bell icon, and we'll tell you when we've got more clips coming up. And if any of the tips and tricks we give you along the way are useful, you can always join my club, which is where all the fun starts. Right, these are going in the bin. The links to club membership are in the blurb. It really does help if you subscribe, because you tell the algorithm that you'd like to see what we do. Sometimes I get messages from people saying, your clip just popped up, where have you been? I haven't seen you for ages. And I've been posting every week on YouTube, but because people aren't necessarily subscribed, they don't necessarily get told by the algorithm when I've posted something. Anyway, these guys going on the compost heap. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye. So this is what my studio looks like now. That's the tripod for filming my live chats with my club members, which needs sorting out, putting away, and the lamp, which is my very sophisticated lighting, that needs putting away. I use these wine boxes for any number of props and interests, so I shall keep those to hand because I bet they'll be useful. And I'm going to leave this attractive arrangement of crab apples and little globe thistles, because they're pretty on the windowsill and they give the studio some character. The ranunculus and anemones are sprouting, but I'm going to put them out of the way, tidy up this lot. Yes, this can all be tidied. I don't think the people coming are interested in empty boxes, in piles of material ready to go onto another website for sale. They don't want it to be, what don't they want it to be? Right, so I'm going to tidy up and I'm going to make the place look much more cozy. It is my flower studio, so it's a working space, which is why it often looks a bit kind of bare and mostly a bit untidy, because I'm always in the middle of a work in progress. So what I will do is now transform this into a space with areas where photographs could be taken and ideas that we could use through the process. Because the journalist and so the editor and the photographer are coming together. The weather forecast is appalling rain. So I doubt we're going to be outside much. I'm looking at the weather now. It's appalling rain now. And I have a board meeting starting in an hour, which risks going on all afternoon. So I'm going to have to leave the board meeting, say, look, I can only go till 3, because if it's not pouring with rain, I've got to get out and get some harvest done to make so that I can, if it is bucketing with rain, we're kind of ready and we can work around it tomorrow. So again, life is full of swings and roundabouts. So let's play. So it is the next day and I have finished the photo shoot. The lovely photographer and editor have been and gone, and I really did prepare the room so it looked really tidy and organised. And this is what we've done. We've made an enormous mess. So that's a reminder that what it was good was thinking about the vessels and the containers, because this is a consumer magazine and we want to use things that people might be able to use in their own homes. It doesn't want to be too grand or huge or floristy. This is not a sort of posh floristry piece, but it is a piece to inspire people to get out into their gardens and cut their flowers. So we've completely moved the whole place around. And so I'm going to show you. I'm going to move things around a bit so that I can't show you the photo. I can't show you the pieces that we made, but I'm going to make a piece with the leftovers for you in a minute. I'm going to make you a 30 stem challenge because we haven't had a 30 stem challenge for ages, and it's November and it's a really good time to look at what you've got in your garden, get out there and get up close and personal with your garden, and you'd be astonished what you can find. It does not work you standing on your back doorstep going, there's nothing out there. You have to go out and actually look. So take a pair of snips, take a bucket of water and go and have a look at what you've got. And we did that this morning. Yesterday it rained so hard that I couldn't harvest anything in advance. But luckily the rain held off this morning and we walked around the fields and we found masses of things, the kind of things that you could have in your garden too. But if I hadn't gone up and looked closely, I wouldn't have seen them. So I'm just going to show you the rest of what the mess that we've made and some of the things that we've done, and then I'm going to make you a 37 challenge, and I hope you enjoy that. So we had lots of potential, what do they call, props up, including this is my big purple linen background. We didn't use it in the end, but we got it out in case we needed to hang it up. We've got buckets of a bit bashed around foliage and flowers left. The poor old ranunculus and anemones just have ended up underneath stuff. Heaps of foliage lying around. I'm dipping in and out of all of this to make floristry. More ranunculus sitting on a chair here. But this was a good thing that we did. We wanted to photograph on the stepladder, but it's not flat. The top bit wasn't flat, so we used some plant trays to adjust the level, and that made a very nice surface to photograph against. We also had this mess of dried kept being moved around to blur out ugly backgrounds. And obviously the photography is focusing in on whatever we were working on. So this was not a piece of arranged floristry, but it was just in the background all the time. We had to be careful because obviously the dahlias are still lying on the floor drying, and I've still got more to pick up and bring in. But I had left the rest of the dahlias out there so that we could use some of them in the floristry, and the best that still exist, we cut the very far last of lovely Aljo, A-L-J-O. I love this dahlia. It is my favourite and my best. So we used some of that in the floristry, and now I've done that shoot, I can lift those dahlias and bring them in to dry off. Right, I'm going to, and I expect you're used to this table being further back, but understandably the photographer was keen on the light that floods in from the left here and floods across from the other side as well. So that we made the set here, and I'm going to make you an arrangement here. And all the photographs obviously did not include the compost bucket, nor did they include the pile of trays in the background, nor the red topped stool. We just endlessly all day were moving things around. So while the table's still pulled forward, this is a really ordinary vase, and it's from Morrison's, very cheap supermarket vase, but I like it because I like this kind of tulip arrangement at the top, and it's going to be really easy to fill. And I'm not going to worry too much about what I'm doing. This is 30 interesting stems from the garden, and each piece of interest is different. So for example, I love the berries on this euonymus. I like the movement it's giving me already in there. And I'm going to have, here we have, this is winter flowering honeysuckle. I'm going to make sure that the vase, that the water is clean. I'm not going to put any leaf material under the waterline because it'll make it dirty. Very worn out, bashed about side stems of hydrangea. And I'm putting them all in threes together because in a small way it looks as though they're growing together. I mean, they're not, of course, and this is, but it's a sort of, it's a way of, if you haven't got a huge amount of material and you haven't got any heavy, much in the way of focal flowers, this is the same euonymus, but this bit, the green has reverted and this is the unreverted bit. This is for anyone who doesn't like yellow. I love a bit of yellow. So I'm going to have some yellow. And you can see I've cut the top out of here, so it's a bush. But actually that's quite nice, it gives me structure in the middle to have things growing out of. Here's the old Salvia Hadspun. Putting them in together, just taking off any, oh blast, taking off any leaves which are a bit manky or might be going under the waterline. And there's some colour. You don't, see, I can stop now. That's nice bit of wild factor, I could just walk away. Really simple. So that's 3, 6, 9, 12 stems, done. But I've got more, so let's have some more. I love this penstemon, which flowers right on until the frosts. And I like the way it, I like the way it, it's slightly different red than the pink. They contrast really nicely. And I'm going to have a little bit of also shoved into buckets after this event. I'm going to have some of this red salvia. Oh, nice. Yellow leaves from the field Acer. Dead nettle, flowering in November, but also with a really nice habit, lovely curly stem. Always make sure the stem's going in the water. And we're kind of, I think that's really simple and very attractive as a way of using up the leftovers. And then I'm going to use the last of my dahlias. This is Alio. Actually, I've got a better idea. I'm going to go and I've got 3 more outside and it's a real contrast of colour. So stay there, I'll be back in a second. So this is Dahlia Purple Pearl, and in the summer she's much purpler. She's faded with the autumn, and this is literally the last 3 stems. It's the 11th of November, and I will not have any more flowering from her this year, but I can tuck her in . bring her forward a bit. There we are. Tuck her in, and that is not even 30 stems. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, and 1 stem of this red salvia. 22 stems. Should we do it up to 30? You see how having the lip to the vase, the tulip top to the vase, allows this movement. Oh, I know what I was going to put in here. This, I love this. This is motherwort, and it dries really beautifully, and I love arrangements that mix dry. In this time of year, I like to mix dried and living ingredients. And you'll see that I've got this kind of line going. It's a Hogarthian curve, which means that there's a sort of gentle, and sometimes people call it the line of beauty, and there's this sort of gentle curve through the piece, which is like an arabesque. And sometimes you find plant material that makes an arabesque for you. Sometimes you find a florist who will stand behind your piece to demonstrate what you've done. And sometimes you find floral stems that have a natural line of beauty, and I'm going to go get one to show you because it works really, really nicely. So this is dried Nicandra physaloides, shoe fly plant to you, madam. And can you see, it's got a natural curve to it. And if I slip it into the side here, I'm going to make it shorter. Then it carries on the line from here over here. And that, my friends, is a quick using up the leftovers in my extremely untidy studio, which was tidy. I had cleared it up. I took away all the kind of boring chairs, and I made it look cottagey, and then in they came, and they moved this table into the middle because it's where the best light is, and we ended up putting the step ladder on plant trays to keep it standing upright. But we've had a lovely time, and I think I'm a flower farmer. I'm a flower farmer and a florist, so I should know how lovely the garden can be in November. But I have forgotten. And so we walked around on the gloomy grey morning, and we cut lots of material, way more than we needed, and we made some floristry. And obviously Jason is an infinitely better photographer than I am, so he made the floristry look absolutely incredible, and you'll have to wait a long time till you see it in a magazine, but it'll be there one day. And in the short term, this is what you can do with the leftovers, and it's such simple work. I just want to get these in the right place. That's better. I want them to be together because they sort of grow together, but I don't want them to be squashed. So there you are. That's not even, Stem's not in. That's not even a 30 stem challenge. That's less than a 30 stem challenge. From a November garden in which it appears there's absolutely nothing. So I really recommend you go outside and have a look and see what you can find. And if you do have someone to come and photograph your studio or your work or you at work, my top tip is to remember that whatever you do will not be what they want. So be prepared to pivot and be prepared to have a good idea all day. Let's use this. Could we use this? Would this work? Can we move this around? And that way you'll have a really, really good time, but also you'll get much more out of the day than possibly you thought. Whereas if you have, no, I'm going to use this, this and this, and I've got it all lined up and I'm not changing my mind, you risk losing the opportunity for some real creativity. And so it's always a great compliment to have photographers here and journalists here. It's not only a great compliment, it's really good for the business. So when they say jump, I say how high, and I'm delighted when they work so brilliantly. And it really reminds me how they earn their money. You know, they work really, really hard and they did a really, really good job. Anyway, you'll see those photographs in a long time ahead. But in the meantime, I recommend you go outside and make yourself a 30 stem challenge. Find what you've got left in your garden and make something for you. I'm going to go and give this to Granny. See you very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.